So we started with the culture of success being three things. Leadership, number one. Number two is trust. Number three is teamwork. Is there somebody in your business, or is there somebody in your circle of influence who you don't really trust? And if there is, then why are they still there? Why haven't you broken from them? Have a look at your business. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is terrible and 10 is the best it could possibly be, where would you score yourself on leadership? And if it's not scoring yourself, if you have a leadership team, where would you score that leadership team? Where do they sit? Welcome to the latest edition of the Mastermind for Business podcast. This podcast is for you if you are in a successful business and you just feel like you're trapped by it. So if you spend more time in your business and less time in your life and you'd like to reverse that, then every week in 15 to 30 minutes, we're going to give you some really simple tips and tricks that you can use that's going to give you the opportunity to get yourself free. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this episode. In fact, in this episode, we're going to be talking about the culture of success and team dynamics. And this has come from a couple of great experts that I've been working with recently. So looking forward to getting that underway.
If you want more time, money, freedom, and have a business that's not reliant on you, then you're in the right place. Each week, Mark Creedon, along with some of the very best business minds in the world, will take you through simple, practical steps you can take to create the business you always wanted. From his own practical experience, Mark will show you how to work less, make more, and get the business you always wanted, the one that you deserve. Now here's your host, one of Australia's most sought-after business coaches, Mark Creedon.
Let's talk about the culture of success. I think there's basically three components to a culture of success, right? And anytime you look at successful teams, successful businesses, successful operations, I think you pretty much find these three elements there, and they're leadership, trust, and teamwork. You can achieve through leadership, trust, and teamwork, I think you can achieve amazing levels of success. And so my challenge to you, dear listener, as you're listening to this episode of the podcast, is to think to yourself, all right, let's do a little exercise. In my business right now, if you feel like it's just not giving you the freedom you'd like it to be, you've got to hang a lamb chop around your neck when you get home so the dog doesn't bite you because you're never there. What's missing? And there will be a low score on one of these three elements. So what I want you to do is to try and, as objectively and critically as you possibly can, to score yourself on those 3 points. Have a look at your business. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is terrible and 10 is the best it could possibly be, where would you score yourself on leadership? And if it's not scoring yourself, if you have a leadership team, where would you score that leadership team? Where do they sit? Are they seen as leaders? Do people actually see them as leaders in the business? What about trust? How high is trust in your organization? I remember over the years I've worked with people, and you sort of go, you know what? You can see why this isn't working because their team just don't trust them, right? One of the things that we spoke about at one of our intensives, so 3 times a year we get together with our mastermind members on the Gold Coast, and we talk about a particular topic. But one of the things we spoke about at an intensive earlier this year was the concept of the 100% say-do rule. In other words, whatever you say you'll do, you actually do 100% of the time. You are like an absolute rock. They can depend on you that if you say your word, you bond. Time and again, I see leaders dangling carrots, making promises, and it breeds a lack of trust. The more that you have that lack of trust, the harder it's going to be successful. It underpins this concept of a culture of success. And in fact, I use the term, I see leaders that people can't trust. They're not leaders, they're just managers, right? True leaders show leadership skills and they can be trusted. But that's a two-way street. So I always look at, in leadership positions I'm in, can people trust me? Do I have a 100% say-do philosophy to what I'm saying and doing? And can I trust them? Do you have people in your business that you go, yeah, I don't know, I really trust them? If you do, my question is, why are they there? Why are they in your business? If you don't trust someone, and it's not just in your business, it's around your business. Mark Beats from the Barton's Motor Group here in Brisbane is a very, very long-standing client and a good friend. You know, one of the things Mark always says is, I don't do business with people I don't like. A natural extrapolation of that is, I don't do business with people I don't trust. And I don't do business with people I don't like, and I don't do business with people I don't trust. Is there somebody in your business, or is there somebody in your circle of influence who you don't really trust? And if there is, then why are they still there? Why haven't you broken from them? Let me just challenge you on that for a moment. Let me just think about, if you've got somebody that you're doing business with on a regular basis, whether they work for you, whether they work with you, whether they work alongside you, whether they supply you, whether they're an alliance partner of some sort, and you don't really trust them, stop doing business with them. And just watch how that frees you up. You'll get this lifting of this massive weight off you. All right, so we started with the culture of success being three things. Leadership, number one. Number two is trust. Number three is teamwork. Teamwork is about people all rowing in the same direction. I remember having a conversation with Wayne Bennett, NRL Supercoach, and we were talking about teamwork, and I asked him the question, hey, you know, what do you do if you've got members of the team that you're coaching who don't agree with you? And his answer was, I'll clean it up a little bit, but his answer was essentially this. In the dressing sheds or in the planning room, like in the war room, they can disagree with me as long as they've earned the right to do that. But I'm very happy to listen to pretty much anybody, right? And I'm happy to take that on board. But once we move out of that room, and particularly once we're on the paddock, everybody's on the same page. And if you've got people in your group, in your team, who don't subscribe to that theory, in other words, they disagree with you and they carry that disagreement out onto the paddock, then they need to not be on your team. So teamwork it's not about everybody agreeing. It's not about everybody holding hands and singing Kumbaya and everybody getting on. It's not about utilitarianism. It's not about that's not what it's about. It's actually about people being prepared to row in the same direction, even if they may disagree with your reasoning or with what you're doing. But they respect you and they trust you enough, or they trust the leadership within your business enough that they're prepared to say, yeah, do you know what, I don't entirely agree with it, but I'm going to get on board for this and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in another forum, at another time, in another place. So when you look at those three elements, leadership, trust, and teamwork, I wonder, which of those are you missing a score on? Which of those do you need to work on right now? And this is actually a great time of the year. So we're recording this in December. As we come into Christmas, most of our clients, most service businesses are starting to slow down a little bit, if not close down. This is an opportunity for you to start to think, if I'm going to take some time off, let me just critically examine the business. Let me critically examine the people around me. Do I actually have that level of trust and teamwork and leadership that I need? I watched this great series. It's a 4-part series on Netflix about Churchill. I think it's called Churchill and the War, or Churchill at War, or something like that. And, you know, Churchill could be a bit of a divisive figure. He sort of cleverly created this persona that for the last 40, 50 years or whatever it might be, has certainly created this great aura about himself. But one of the things that Boris Johnson gave this quote that I really loved. And he said, this is the fundamental difference in leadership between Churchill and Adolf Hitler. Right? And he said this: Hitler made his people believe he could achieve anything. They believed he was capable of achieving anything. And that's the message he put out there as the leader. I can do anything. I can achieve anything. Follow me and we will achieve great things. Whereas Churchill, on the other hand, made the British people believe that they could do anything, that they could achieve anything, that they could achieve victory in the face of overwhelming odds, that they could survive the London bombings, that they could do this. You know, his speech from the Battle of Britain, I think never before in the history of the theatre of war has so much been owed by so many to so few. Don't quote me, it's something pretty close to that. But that was really very much getting people to believe that they were capable of achieving that. They were capable of doing anything. And it's a fundamental difference in leadership. So now's a great time for you to review your leadership style. Do you adopt the process that, hey guys, follow me, I can achieve anything, look how good I am? Or do you adopt the process of you can achieve anything? I know that's my leadership style. My leadership style is definitely, bringing up the people around me. And it's what we do in Mastermind. We help our business owner clients to actually bring up the people around them so that they can get freedom, so that they can actually have some success, so that they can get some, to not be a slave to the business. So now's a great time for you to have a look at your leadership style. I'm not going to say, are you Churchill or Hitler? That would be inappropriate. But is the focus on you or the focus on them? I took over the role of CEO of the Metropole Property Group about 20 months ago. And the thing that I focused on in that 20 months has been a two-prong approach. And I'm going to talk to you about what that two-prong approach is and how we've moved past a bunch of those things over the last 20 months in just a minute. All right, let's talk about how I have personally, let me give you a little peek behind the curtains and I'll share with you how I've taken on the CEO role and sort of what I've done in terms of leadership. So one of the things that I decided when I'm in any leadership capacity is to find the group of people who are immediately around me and how can I help them to do two things. One, I want to help them to be the best version of themselves. I want to help them to be the best version of themselves. Now, that is whether that's professionally, personally, or in a perfect world, both. I want to help them to be the very, very best version of themselves that they possibly can be. And I want to empower them. I want to help them to believe that they can achieve anything. Because if I get them to believe that they can achieve anything, they will come on that journey with me. As I paint the picture of where I want the team to go, where I want a business to go, if I can get the immediate team and executive leadership team around me and I can free them of whatever shackles might have been holding them back. This is not all wine and roses, right? It's not always going, yeah, guys, come on, you can do anything. You can be anything you want to be. Because sometimes there's some hard truths in there. You know what? You're actually pretty shit at that. So we've got to find someone to help you to get that bit fixed up. But you're really, really good at this stuff. Let's get you focusing on this stuff. These are the areas if we get you focused on, we achieve things. So my first priority was to help the executive leadership team around me to build that and get it right, and then get those people to believe that they were capable of achieving anything that they set their mind to. The second step was to then pass that down the line, was to help them to help their team to do the same. Now, within Metropole, the executive leadership team already had a good percentage of those skills, so I didn't have to come in and sort of wave magic wands. But it was just giving them the skills, the tools, the resources, and in lots of ways the permission to work on themselves, to work on achieving that level of success for themselves, but then to pass it down. So they start to build their own executive leadership team around them. And so you get this cascading waterfall kind of effect where as the leader of the business, you're then helping the next level of leaders to achieve what they're capable of, and they're helping the next level of leaders to achieve what they're capable of. And that's how you build a really solid foundation for exponential growth in the business. And what happens is, as you start to help your leadership team to believe in themselves, to believe that they can achieve anything, they start to focus in on those skills that they're really good at. They start to look to then delegate the things that they're rubbish at, to really spend their time in their zone of genius. And the more they learn that, the easier it is for them to teach it. So the more they learn it, the easier it is for them to teach it. And as they teach it, down the line, then they're in the position where the next people within the business are starting to focus on their genius. Oh, what's my genius? Where should I be working? How can I bring about the best outcomes? How can I be the best version of me, both professionally and personally, that I can be? And the more that you do that, the more you empower people, a couple of things happen. Your business grows, they grow, but they grow more loyal and committed to the business, right? And if we're talking about how you get a team to be successful, and earlier in this episode we spoke about the culture of success, I think that commitment is an enormous component of it. And what you have to do is, I think you need to have, there's probably three things. I think you have to get rid of the absence of trust. You need to remove any fear of conflict, and then finally get rid of the lack of commitment. So one of the reasons why people don't commit is because they don't trust in the process. They don't believe in the process. They don't trust that if they put themselves out there and they make all of this effort and commitment, that there's actually going to be something in that for them, the old Whiffam principle. And they don't believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel that isn't an oncoming freight train. And so you have to build that level of trust. Once you build that and you get rid of that lack of trust, it's going to be much easier for them to have that commitment. And we also have to know that conflict is a perfectly normal part of that process. So when I took on the CEO role, there was plenty of conflict. But it was good conflict because it enabled us to have honest, open conversations with each other. And not everybody agrees with what I say. Not everybody agrees with my methodology. Or not everybody agrees with the decisions I make. But they all trust me enough to get on board with it and to be committed to it, and to also not be afraid of pointing out the fact that they don't agree. So you have to remove that fear of conflict. And I think the only way to remove the fear of conflict is to not remove conflict. So the more you sweep conflict under the carpet, the more afraid people are going to be of conflict, and they're going to go, I just don't want to get involved in that, or it doesn't go anywhere, or it just ends up in a slanging match and doesn't achieve anything. The more that you can be open with conflict and accept the conflict as a part of the normal process and find a way to reach resolution from it, and whether that resolution is, do you know what, I don't agree with you, but I'm gonna run with it and we're gonna see how it goes, or do you know what, I don't agree, but let's do it that way, and if that doesn't work, and as I have often said, what I was trying to say, as I have often said, okay, I may not agree with the way that you want to do things, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to run it your way for now. And if it works, fantastic. I will pull my head in and say I was wrong. And if it doesn't, then we're going to do it my way. And so there's this ability for them to feel then that they are safe, that they can trust me, that I trust them. And once that trust is established, they'll be a lot more committed and committed to the end result, to the purpose, to the outcome we're trying to achieve. In lots of ways, I think this trust and belief is such a core element of all of this that without it, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. So as you're looking at your business and you're taking some time, again, we're recording this in December as we're coming into the Christmas break, it's a perfect opportunity for you just to have a look at your business and think about what could I do differently, what might be working, what might not be working, and talking about those elements of leadership, trust, teamwork, but having a look at you and what it is that you've done. Have you built yourself to the point where people believe that you are genuinely there to help them to see that they can achieve anything? Or are you there to help them to see that you can achieve anything? And the problem with the latter, if you run your business so that your people around you can see that you can achieve anything, then everything flows through you and you will never get freedom from your business. Everything will be dependent on you. Everything will rely on you. Everybody will rely on you. All decisions will flow through you and you will feel omnipresent. You will feel, amazing. How good are you that everything has to come through you? The problem with that, you'll never get freedom. You will never get freedom from the business. Things will constantly have to go through you and you will be trapped by your business. And then, to quote that great book, How to Have a Business, Not Just a Job Without Nearly Killing Yourself in the Process by Mark Creedon. And if you'd like to have a copy, haveabusinessnotajob.com.au. But to quote that book, what will happen is you will just have a job. So stop now and spend this time to think about how am I leading my business? Am I leading it from the point of view of helping people to see that they can achieve anything? Or is it all turned on me? And if it's turning on you, now's the perfect opportunity for you to think about changing that. How can you instill trust, commitment, and permission for healthy conflict into your business now, into your leadership team, so that your leadership team will actually believe that you're there to help them to achieve their very best, which in turn will help the business to achieve its very best. They've got to get on board, right? They've got to feel like they are part of the process. If you want them to buy in, that's what you've got to achieve. These are the sorts of things we teach our clients all the time in our Mastermind for Business program, metropolemastermind.com.au. Hey, if you've got a topic that you'd like to hear about, maybe a topic you'd like us to address, DM us via Instagram or in YouTube, go to Mastermind for Business and send us a chat in the comments in our YouTube channel, Mastermind for Business, and let us know a topic that you would like us to cover off on in future episodes as we start to plan out our 2025 podcast episode calendar. In the meantime, whatever you do, please make sure you spend time with those who matter most. This is Mark Creedon, and looking forward to chatting with you in the next episode of the Mastermind for Business podcast.
Thanks for joining us on the Mastermind for Business podcast. If you're ready to have a business that you're not a slave to, check out metropolemastermind.com.au or have a chat with Mark and the team at all the W's, see what's possible.today.